Hey friends, I hope the morning's treating you well. I decided to come out here in the woods and get a little bit of fresh air and maybe answer some questions that you guys have been asking in the comments. And if you guys have any questions you want me to answer in a future video, just leave them down below. And if it's interesting, I'll get to it. The ground rules are, there's no bad questions, only bad answers. So if I have something interesting I can add, then I'll answer it and do what I can. I had a few people ask me, Otis, have you ever played at the Station Inn in Nashville? And yes, I have, a few different times. It's one of my favorite places in Nashville. When you're traveling, the prime directive, at least for me, is to partake in things indigenous to the area. And the Station Inn is that. It's like the real thing. When you walk in, you realize, wow, this is something special. This is something we need to hold on to. And if you go there, you might see Mike Bubb walking around. Walk up to him and ask him, hey man, show me some of there's some like historic things in the room that a lot of people miss. Maybe Mike would tell you what it was. But the first time I ever played at the Station Inn, I played on a multi-band bill. And man, I brought my band down from Indianapolis, and I think the Avett brothers were on this, the Green Cards. I'm forgetting who else, but it was a really fun night, and it was before the Avett brothers became huge. So one of my favorite memories of the Station Inn is there's a woman who used to book the place named Ann Sawyers, really nice lady, and she would be behind the counter, and when somebody played a song that they liked, there was a bell back there. She'd reach back there and ring the bell. And you knew that you did something. And she didn't ring the bell, all the time, maybe once a night or something like that. And I thought, that was a cool thing. And there's a video of John Prine. Ann Sawyers passed away, but there's a video of John Prine going to the hospital bed and singing for her. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's just a really special thing. I don't know if it's on YouTube. I saw it on Facebook. I don't know if it's on YouTube or not, but it's worth looking up. But I remember going there all these different times, and some bluegrass legend would play a certain song, and it just rang true to her, and she'd ring the bell. So that was always a memory. I played there that night, and we got a few songs into the set. And it was packed. It was really fun. It was a great night, and I played a song of mine called Get Me Out of Detroit, and we played that, and I guess we played it halfway decent, and at the end of it, she rang the bell. And just a little thing like that meant so much. I mean, so much. And that was the first time I ever played there. I remember Steve Earle was in the audience, and he said that he came out to see me, and was nice, and just one of those fun nights. One of those fun nights in Nashville. And years later, I played there, a few other times. I had the release party for Souvenirs of a Misspent Youth. I had it there at the Station Inn. And I remember I wanted to book the gig, and I didn't really know anybody there. And I called up, I sent an email, and it went to Ann Sawyers, and I was like, I don't know if you know me or whatever, but I'd like to play for a release party, blah, blah, blah. And she sent back this really nice email. Of course I know you, Otis. You come in here all the time, and you're nice, and blah, blah, blah. We'd love to have you. And just extremely welcoming. It was just beautiful. It was one of those, when people talk about old Nashville, that's a lot of it right there. And got to have the release party and played there a few other times. But just most of my memories are sitting there enjoying people playing, music at an extremely high level. I used to drive down before I moved there to see the Time Jumpers every Monday, and at the Station Inn, and it was always packed, and it was always great. And I would drive down like right before we moved there every Wednesday for 6 months. Gillian Welch and David Rawlings played every Wednesday for $20 in this place that holds like 100 people. I came down a lot to that. Absolutely beautiful. One of the great memories in Nashville, and I love the Station Inn. Somebody asked me, does Ramblin' Jack Elliott live in Nashville? And no, he does not live in Nashville. Somewhere in Northern California. I'm guessing around San Francisco. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere around there. And these questions are a little bit Nashville-centric here off the top. Somebody commented on a video, I believe it's titled Townes Van Zandt, The Nashville Years. Somebody made a snarky comment about Townes Van Zandt, Nashville. How'd that work out for him? Doesn't seem like a Music Row guy. Townes actually recorded some albums on Music Row. Some of them you've been listening to your entire life and loving were recorded there on Music Row with players that play, on those Music Row albums or whatever. Townes moved there. He followed Guy Clark to Nashville sometime in the 70s. I'm not sure exactly what year, but there's a famous picture of Guy and Townes on a porch with Susanna, and there's another guy whose name always escapes me, but Townes is playing a fiddle, and they're on a front porch. That's in East Nashville in the 1970s. That was the house that Guy and Susanna moved into when they left, I believe right when they left California. This is all from memory, so I hope that I got all this right, but that's the house that Townes wrote If I Needed You in that house. And man, he wrote a couple others, and I can't remember what. And Guy Clark wrote Randall Knife maybe in that house. But that was really close to my house in East Nashville. I was probably 10 blocks from there, something like that. And I remember 12 or 15 years ago, that house came up for sale. And it was like $100,000, $120,000 for this little house there. And me or the people I knew didn't have the money for it. Or it would be pretty nice to buy the house that, they all lived in East Nashville. And it got bought out by a developer, and they knocked the house down and built another, like a more fancy house on the spot. So it's no longer there, but I remember going to a party 8 or 10 years ago, somewhere in there, and the house next to it, and we were all out in the backyard, and I asked somebody, do you know what this used to be right here next door? And the guy that lived there said, yeah, that's where Guy Clark lived, wasn't it? I'm like, yeah, and it was neat to be that close to it. And I wish I would have been there, known the day they knocked it down. It's one of those things where a house gets knocked down and you find out a few days later when the word gets around. But I would have went and done something stupid, like got a piece of wood or a brick or something and had a little bit of a souvenir from that. But yeah, I believe Townes, I don't know this for a fact, I don't think he ever left for the rest of his life. So for a long, long stretch there at the end of his life, he lived in Nashville, just outside in Smyrna. And it's where business is done. And that's why Guy Clark came there, because you could make money writing songs in Nashville. And not to get off on a tangent, but man, when people start going off and dogging Nashville, I realize there's this thing that they're thinking of with Nashville, and this ugly thing none of us really like. I get that. But they're throwing a lot of really great things, out, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, as they say, when they're doing that. So when you say Nashville sucks, it's like, what I would always think is like, John Prine lives here, Guy Clark lives here, Gillian Welch lives here. There's so many people that are great, just wonderful, wonderful artists, and they all live there. So are you saying that Townes and Guy and Gillian Welch and these other people suck? I know that's not what people are saying, but it's just lazy, I think, to just lump everything in, with that. But that's my opinion. I also had a few people reaching out to me asking how I'm feeling, and I've been sick for the last 10 days or so. There's something that was going around a few years ago. If I say what it is, YouTube might limit the reach of this video, so I'm going to be very vague, but we'll just say after 4 years, I finally caught the cocoa, and it beat me down pretty hard, and I'm on the other side of it. Today is the first day that I can supposedly not be isolated, but I'm going to still isolate myself. That's why I came out here in the woods. Figured I'd be alone in the woods and enjoy being out. Feels good to get some fresh air. I was supposed to be driving to Texas. I had to cancel some gigs, and I'm still very run down, like very run down, but I'm getting better, and don't worry about me. I'll be good. But for those of you asking, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys asking and checking in. And like I said before, I'm supposed to be in Texas right now. I was going to play in Galveston at the Old Quarter, and I believe I was supposed to play there on Townsend's birthday. Can you hear the woodpecker? The woodpecker approves. I was supposed to play there on Townsend's birthday. That was a complete accident. I believe that was not a planned thing at all, just a complete accident. I had 5 or 6 people mention that, and no, it's just an accident. And I didn't get to do it anyway, so I guess it didn't matter. We'll reschedule that somewhere down the road, though, for those of you in the Galveston area, and I'll be back to Texas soon, I promise. Now, if I don't say the names of the people that ask me these questions, it's because when I see them on my end, it shows like the gibberish letters that people will put in for their actual name. It doesn't show me whatever name they've chosen to be known by on YouTube. So it'll just be a bunch of random letters and numbers most of the time, and so I don't know the name a lot of times of who's asking the question. Somebody asked me, how do I make a set list? Well, I make a video about the right way to make a set list. And I was like, that would be a really boring video. The best answer, I prefer to not use a set list. Maybe have a couple songs in mind that you're going to start with or whatever, but let the audience kind of, if I'm playing by myself in a solo acoustic thing, I will start out with a few just to get things rolling, and then I will start changing it up as I kind of feel like in the moment, or what it feels like might be right for the room in that moment. Having said that, I fall into a lot of familiar patterns, especially on a tour. I'll end up doing a lot of things the same and in a very similar order over a tour, because it just kind of feels natural that way and feels good. I'd love to do that with a band. I don't have like a band that's just like going out and playing, that knows all of my repertoire and all of that stuff. I don't have that. We just rehearse a set and go play the set. So, but I mean, the nuts and bolts of it, if you have to change guitars, let's say if I have a guitar I play electric on this song or these songs, and I play acoustic on these. If there's like 5 acoustic guitar songs, this is in a band set, I'll put those together somewhere in the middle so I don't have to change guitars as often and things can keep rolling. Might do that, and but you try to build something, and then like sometimes in the middle of the set, you just kind of like, yeah, this next song, let's kick it back a few more songs, and you change it around. But just go by feel. Don't be married to some preconceived notion that you had a few days before the gig or a couple weeks before the gig. Be in the moment. That's the most important thing. Be present in that room. Like, we all chose to be there together. I say this on stage a lot of times. So, in an effort to get people to not live in their cell phones and all of that, we all chose to be here. I traveled quite a distance most of the time to be there. It's like, let's all be here together in this moment. We could have done other things, but we're all here right now. So let's be here. Let's not live through electronic devices. Let's be present in the room. And for, like, when you're the artist or you're the person there putting on a show, entertaining people, I want to share something special, something human, and something that doesn't have to be experienced through electronic devices. It's a little bit of a drag singing to a phone sometime when there's people there, and we can all experience it together. A lot of people don't understand that, and but a lot of people do, and that's what's important. Be there for the people who are there, and just make it everything it can be and make it as human as possible. That's my personal rule. And if a set list helps that, that's great. If it doesn't, chuck it out the window. in the last 3 months, I've been getting a lot of questions about who films this stuff, Otis. Who's your editor and all of that stuff. And the truth is, it's all me. If you see something on this channel, 99.9% of it, I did. Everything, every little piece of it, I did. And every now and then, very rarely, my best friend Todd Fox helps me film some stuff. And there's been twice on some live sessions where my buddy Matthew Aaron helped me film stuff. Everything else was me. And there's like over 700 videos that I've published to this channel. And I used to be into photography. I guess I still am. Me and my buddy Todd Fox used to travel around. I mean, we still travel. I say used to. We still do. He was going to go to Texas with me this week. We travel around and take photos, and he taught me a lot about photography. And I learned on a Pentax K1000. Everything was manual. Nothing automatic about it. So if your exposure sucks, it's because you suck. If it's out of focus, it's because you missed the focus. And it was very humbling, and it taught me a lot about this stuff where you had to get better or quit. And Todd's a wonderful photographer, and he taught me an awful lot. So over the course of time, I just got better. And it was one of the things that I did and I really enjoyed. And we'd get in the dark room, and we'd listen to Ralph Stanley and stay up all night long and trying to make a print. And failed most of the time making things, but enjoyed it. It's something I could share with him. And somewhere along the line, I started doing this YouTube channel a few years ago. And even before that, I thought I'm going to dabble in video a little bit, and just a little bit. But the things that I learned about making photos back when, you can all of that applies to, film. So it helps with this stuff. You have to have a good eye and all of that, and gear really doesn't matter that much. And people ask me, what kind of gear do you like? If you go buy some camera these days to film something on, just about everything's going to do a good job. Either you're good at this and you have a good eye, or you don't, and the camera is not going to help that much. And there's little things. I like using old lenses that are 50 or 60 years old that I used to use in film photography and all of that. That's one thing I liked. But I have an eye. I have there's an aesthetic that I go towards, or whatever, blah blah. But it's not. If you enjoy the way it looks, that's beautiful, and I appreciate it. But it has very little. Whenever you see anybody's channel and you're seeing things that you really like and think look great, it's because of the person doing it. It's not because of gear or whatever. But I do list everything that I use in the description of these videos. And if you go click those links, and if you buy anything, like if you go buy, kitty litter or something afterwards, I get a tiny cut of that. And I end up putting it towards cat food for my cats to help pay for that each month. I'll make $40, $50 a month and pay for some cat food. But just because people go there and they make a purchase. But if you dig the way these things look, thank you. I appreciate that. But it has nothing to do with gear. I honestly mean that. And those of you who have been photographers for a long time understand that. There's the Pentax K1000, they made those little tanks, they made so many of those, and it was a student camera because it's all manual. And they're built like a tank. I have like 3 of them. But my buddy was going to throw it away. My roommate is how I got my first one. So they had that little value. And so it was going into the trash. I took it and learned on it. And it made me feel very proud that I would make photographs that I thought were, well, that's really good. That's, really great. And then I would see people with thousands of dollars worth of gear that really couldn't turn out much at all. It was a sense of pride to me and my buddy Todd that it's like, nah, we're doing our thing and we're expressing ourselves and making things that we feel, are good, whatever good means in art. I'm walking on a thin line here, but and then there's people, you can't just buy that. You have to learn it, and you have to develop your eye and your skills, and you can do it. But it's no different than if you give me. I remember Tom Bukovac has a burst, like an old Les Paul. It's 58 or 59, I can't remember which. Amazing guitar, worth a lot of money. Just beautiful guitar. I could hand him some, I don't know, like a Squire or whatever, or it's like, what's like the really low-end learner guitars, a $200 guitar brand new that the intonation's bad, the pickups don't sound great. He starts playing that, he's going to sound 10 times better than me when I'm playing the burst. It's just the way it is, you know. Kenny Vaughan, if you give him this whatever his favorite instrument is, you know, that would be an amazing one. If I take it and play it, and then I give Kenny the crappiest one I can find, Kenny's going to sound better than me because he's better. That's just the way it is. It's the people that matter. Now that you try a lot of different guitars and stuff for colors, and you want to have things that are good. You don't want to play things that are crap to begin with. But you know what I mean. If you really are a musician, you know, of some stature, and you've done this for a while, you understand that. There are some people that are just really good at this and can do that. And the gear, they'll have their favorites, but it's not the gear making. What's the Chet Atkins quote? Somebody saying something about, man, that guitar sounds great, and keeps saying it. And Chet Atkins takes the guitar off, sits it on a stand, and says, "How's it sound now?" You know, it's meaning I'm the one who sounds great, not the guitar. You know, I think that camera gear is the same way. It's either you can do it or you don't. Some of my favorite stuff I used to shoot is I started shooting toy cameras back when, with the plastic lenses like Holgas and Dianas, and things were just always out of focus. Aberrations everywhere, light leaks. I liked it. All the interesting, strange things. It's like when you pick up that old Harmony guitar with the gold foil pickups, and it's all a little bit wonky, but the wonkiness is like, there's something there. That's interesting, you know. And in the hands of the right person, it's a nice, expressive instrument. I feel like I'm kind of killing my own argument in some ways. Saying I do like funky gear, but it isn't all the gear, you know. It's just things that make you think different. That's the important thing. But I'm feeling myself fading, being out here in the woods. It's beautiful to hear the birds. You hear woodpeckers in the background every now and then. I love being out here, and it feels good. Oh, you hear the sticks crunching under my feet. But I'm getting pretty fatigued and tired, so I'm going to shut this down. I appreciate you being here. One last thing I'll say, just so I know you made it this far, maybe you should comment woodpecker down below, and I'll know that you made it through this much of the video. That'll be our little secret. And if you've made it this far, I never asked this. Are you subscribed to this channel? You know, I know when you see the analytics, it's really common for half the people that watch the videos to not be subscribed, and even though they watch all of them. I'm coming up on 100,000 subscribers, which is kind of amazing. I would not have thought that leading into it, but I don't know. Maybe you guys will help me get there. It's a nice little, I didn't think I would ever get there. I didn't know that anybody would even watch this stuff when I started it, but it's nice knowing that people did. But anyway, comment woodpecker down below. Tell me your favorite kind. Pileated, downy, red-breasted, or is it red-headed wood? I guess red-breasted woodpecker. I forget what other kinds of woodpeckers there are, but I see them in the backyard all the time. But I'm going to go and, you know, relax and take a load off and get healed up a little bit. And I'll see y'all somewhere down the road. Much love to you.